there's beer, and then there's craft beer. Brewed with unique ingredients, craft beer has skyrocketed in popularity. In 2014 alone, there were a total of 3,418 craft breweries in the United States. Florida actually has one of the most vibrant craft beer scenes, with Miami quickly rising to the top. Nestled in Wynwood, one of Miami's most colorful neighborhoods, Wynwood Brewing Company prides itself in being the city's first craft brewery. They began brewing in 2011 after being established by Luis Bernoni and his father, Luis Bernoni Sr., better known simply as Pops.
One Christmas, Pops got me a home brewing kit, so I started home brewing while I was in college. And yeah, there it is. Thank you. And so I basically built my own rig, built my own mash tun with a little Coleman cooler. Read, learned, watched videos, YouTube. You can learn anything on YouTube.
For Luis, it made perfect sense to open up at Wynwood.
Being it's the art district, we consider our beers our form of art, our way of expressing ourselves. So it just made sense. And also, we're a family-owned and operated business. We're Puerto Rican. This was a Puerto Rican neighborhood, or still somewhat is. So we kind of fell at home.
Wynwood Brewing Company has quickly become one of the most popular spots in the neighborhood. Locals and tourists swing by to try some of the latest brews and to spend some time in the tap room, an essential feature of these craft breweries.
So the brewery production is where we actually produce and make the beer. The tap room is where we can highlight and showcase our beers. The main focus of our tap room here is education. Our beer tenders here will do an awesome job. The first thing, if somebody's brand new, when they come in, they ask, hey, is this your first time coming here? Yes, it's my first time, great. They suggest a flight, pick whatever 4 beers you'd like, and basically we educate them on the different styles of beer, what makes them a little bit different or Wynwood style, and kind of engage the customer. We don't like to stay open too late. Again, we're not a bar. We have great customers down the street, really good relationships with them. They sell our beer. We're in the beer making business, not the bar running business.
A couple of blocks down from Wynwood Brewing is J. Wakefield Brewing Company. Having officially opened its doors in 2015, J. Wakefield is already a local favorite. One of the most unique things about it, its taproom.
I am a Star Wars and comic book geek, so I incorporated all of that into the brewery. We have a 36 by 16-foot high mural of Star Wars Cantina mural, and we just did the Avengers Assemble mural at the front of the brewery. We also have Soar, the Phoenix Rising, done by Louis Valle, which is my next door neighbor. We really try to bring in the local artists as much as possible to paint and keep the feel and vibe, because that's what we are, want to be part of Wynwood. Tap rooms, to me, are very essential for a craft brewery to survive. I mean, you can go to distribution and that only be it, but really, the feel and to get more people in to drink your beer and to know your beer and your brand is to have a tap room and get people in there to sit down and enjoy your stuff so they can sample a bunch of stuff and understand what you're making and what you're kind of after as far as flavors go.
Craft breweries in Miami have become reflections of the diverse city that they represent. Nothing captures this better than the actual beers that they produce. From the uniquely Miami names to the ingredients the brewmasters use and the taste they create.
Our core beers are El Jefe, which is our coconut Hefeweizen, very Miami, with coconut banana flavors, kind of like a beach beer. Hop for Teachers, our IPA. We do a range of different beers, Belgian quads, Belgian stouts, imperial stouts, just across the board. But what we like to incorporate is a lot of local fruits and just fruits into the beers to make it more of a Miami feel. We use a lot of fruits like guava, mango, papaya, passion fruit, dragon fruit, just star fruit, everything. We do use a lot of our Miami heritage and culture for our brand. So La Rubia, obviously the blonde one, it's a blonde ale. Pops Porter is named after Pops. We have an origin series where we basically name beers after the origin of Miami. Father Francisco was the first Jesuit priest that came to the the mouth of Miami River. We do the Tuttle Stout, which is our Irish dry stout. We're coming out now with our Brickle Belgian IPA. We have the Rickenbacker
a Pilsner named after, not after the causeway, it's after the person who was named after the causeway.
My role is to oversee production in the brewery. I develop recipes and constantly keep new beers coming out. I'm more interested in finding Miami inspiration rather than a literal approach to all of these ingredients came from Miami. For instance, our IPA, the body is light, it is crisp and refreshing, and it's repeatable. And the hop profile is definitely leans more towards aroma rather than bitterness, more towards citrus and those notes. So I think it is perfect for the hot weather. It reflects that culture of citrus that we have down here. Now, we do have some beers that literally have local produce in it. For instance, in fermenting right now, we have a new cucumber pale ale, and we went down to Robert is Here and got 100 pounds of cucumber, and we're going to be peeling them all day tomorrow. And I have a sangria beer coming out in a few weeks that's has red wine juice, and we're going to put a bunch of fruit, local fruit into that.
These tastes have carved out a pretty solid market for craft breweries in Miami, but the road to success hasn't come easy at all.
Local breweries have become a state target after Florida liquor stores and beer distributors started demanding changes.
Yeah, basically the big guys want to make it harder for the craft brewers to get a license.
The Florida Retail Federation, big-name liquor stores and beer distributors, among them Anheuser-Busch and Miller Coors, sued the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. They're basically asking the state of Florida to stop issuing new licenses to these breweries, which would allow on-site sales in the tap rooms.
That started off as the lawsuit, and what it went after was a old decrepit law that basically said that, a brewery could have a tap room, located on the same premises, and it didn't matter. The retailers attacked that, saying they wanted to have proof of tourism, and that we were actually bringing in tourism, and it was all, the lawsuit went away, but now it's actually in legislation, and they're still trying to attack us, slow steps. Big beer is still trying to come after craft beer, which is unfortunate to me because I think it's really starting to take off in Florida, and I think more and more people are finding that craft beer is a better beer.
A lot of the legislation that was happening is based on, I would say, ignorance or lack of knowledge of what the product is. So if you think where some of the big beer companies would try to push on the legislations with their lobbyists that craft beer is promoting alcoholism, that's not necessarily the case. Craft beer is consumed completely differently than big beer companies push theirs. A bottle of craft beer might cost $10, where a 24-pack would cost you $10. Well, who's drinking 24 bottles of beer compared to one bottle of beer?
Overall beer drinkers are down, but craft beer is at an all-time high, so somebody's losing. So something's giving away, and it's the big guys. So they're throwing a lot of money around to lobbyists and politicians.
Budweiser has also had something to say, even debuting a new commercial during Super Bowl 2015 with a little jab dedicated specifically to craft brewers.
I think it's great for craft beer that they did that because they're acknowledging us. So they spent however many millions of dollars on an ad acknowledging craft beer.
Beer has a pretty long history, and within that history, brewers have always faced challenges. In 6th century Europe, for example, Christian monks became promoters of craft beer, brewing to sustain themselves during fasts and keeping their recipes a secret. By the 12th century, though, German feudal lords noticed the increasing popularity and commercial success of these monks' beers, so they stripped them of their brewing rights. It seems that modern-day Miami craft brewers have a lot in common with these monks. One difference, though, is that the brewers aren't keeping their recipes a secret. In fact, they actually want to include the public in the brewing process as much as possible. Daddy Brews not only brews good craft beer, but they also provide classes for aspiring brewmasters.
Pretty much we're trying to be ambassadors of craft beer to the community. We are teaching classes here. Last year we taught about 3,000 people how to brew. This year we plan on upping that to about at least 6,000. And that's not just teaching 6,000 people about how to brew, that's also teaching 6,000 people about craft beer. We're also teaching them the highest levels and the most forward thinking of brewing. And therefore you're going to make the best beers from the beginning. So if this is where we're started, and our city is supposedly 5 years behind other craft beer cities, well, why don't we start at this level? And therefore our city, Miami, will be one of the craft beer meccas in the world within 5 years.
We're very involved in our community. One of the main things that we like to do is give back as much as possible. You know, just because we're in beer doesn't necessarily mean we're kind of like a bad vice or something. You know, we're family owned and operated. We have a responsibility to our community. So we have tours in the weekends. All the money that we get from the tours in the weekend, we donate to the local baseball team here at Wynwood, at the neighborhood enhancement team. We also donate to FIU for the first generations scholarship fund.
Generically speaking, it's every brewery's responsibility to not just claim craft beer fans, but to create craft beer fans. Craft is on fire here and exploding right now, but if you compare this to the rest of the country, especially more established craft beer markets, you can think of this as the final frontier, the last, the Wild West.
Despite the obstacles, craft beer keeps flowing into Miami. The consensus among the brewers in town is, once you have craft, you really can't ever go back.
Mass-produced beers to me have no flavor. It's just as fast as you can pump it out, you're getting it out there. So to me, craft beer is more about really understanding the craft of the beer and the flavors that you're trying to bring forth.
And our palates have been educated enough to where we know I'm going to put my money towards something that has some quality put behind it. I'm not the big beer company with a pretty girl in the commercial saying, hey, look how cold you can drink this. And yeah, I know, my palate closes up, so therefore I don't taste your product, and that's why you're telling me to drink it so cold.
So we produce flavorful beer. We only use 4 ingredients in our beers. That's malts, whether it's barley, wheat, or rye, hops, water, and yeast. That's all we use. All the big guys use corn, rice, sugar, because it lightens the beer and gives it alcohol or fermentables. We don't do that. We use the best possible products.
And as far as what the brewers wish to accomplish?
Yeah, I want to be part of this, and I want more people in Miami to become craft beer drinkers, and I want more breweries to open. We have the population and the size of a city to support a lot of breweries, and I'm hoping in 5 years, 10 years that we have 30, 40 breweries in Miami. I mean, that's what I would love to see.
Cheers to that.